Hello, and welcome to Rising with RLP. I'm Tammie, your host, the owner and founder of RLP Holistic Wellness, also a meditation coach, breathwork facilitator, self-love, and self-discovery speaker. And thanks for joining me for this podcast. This first season is We Are the Divine Femme, because We Are the Divine Femme was the first online summit I did. And I feel that many people hold on to their stories, and their stories could help people. So take a moment, take a listen, sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy. Hello, welcome to Rising with RLP. I am your host, Tammie. And guys, we made it to episode 5. And in this episode, I want you to meet Angela. Angela is a single mom of 3 kids that are high needs. And she's been raising them on her own. Now, one thing about Angela's story is you will hear the triumph and the overcoming 15 years of trauma that range from mental and even, SA. And how Angela, as I refer to her, my pineapple, overcame being broken, heartless, needy, anxious, and insecure. I am so excited for you guys to hear her story. She is the owner of Unabashedly You. She has an amazing podcast. And if you ever catch Unabashedly fucking you guys will hear an episode of her and I doing a bitchin' intermission. So sit back, open your hearts, open your minds, and get ready for this amazing story of Unabashedly You with Angela.
Well, isn't it different the way that people see us and the way that we see ourselves?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we see each other in certain ways, but it's 9 times out of 10, the way that we see others is our own issues that we're trying to deal with within ourselves. It's us, right? We're trying to validate some inner chaos that we've had that we've never really worked on. And so we sit there, and if we can sit there and put everybody else down for the things that we are too scared to do ourselves, or not even scared, we just are fucking lazy, because I do it. I'll sit there and I'll be like, I'll laze it out. And I'm like, oh, wait, I actually need to do stuff, So, I feel like, what am I trying to say? I feel like we spend all our time on this earth trying so hard to please everybody else that we lose sight of who we are. And so if we can sit there and judge everyone else, then we don't have the finger pointed at ourselves and what we need to work on. So we're like trying to define ourselves by other people's lives.
Damn, dude. That just rocked my soul. Oh, see?
Like I have a business about this or something. That's weird.
I don't fucking know. You already know me. Like, I'm like, love yourself. It starts with you. self-love, self-acceptance, and the action that you put in for self. But, I like to tell people, dude, don't think that some days I don't sit down with my feet up and I'm just eating bonbons and shit on my couch, you know?
But we all do it, we all sit there and then we shame ourselves and say, I can't believe I fucking did that. I can't believe I sat there and I watched. Like, I did a puzzle yesterday, which, by the way, it made me super nauseous and I felt like I had vertigo because it was a 3D puzzle, bro. And so I'm like sitting there doing the puzzle and I'm like, dude, am I tripping? Like saying that to my daughter and she's looking at me like, Mom, you're so embarrassing, And I'm just, I don't even get it, dude. Like, this is so unreal. But I did that because I was like, dude, I need to do something for myself. Like, how the fuck am I going to sit there and tell my clients, because I tell them, hey, calm down, man, live with the waves. I'm just like thinking of the turtle, from Finding Nemo. And man, just live with the waves. Right. Just going with the waves. But like we sit there and we like tell our clients, right, in mental health or in any kind of like self-aware kind of thing, right? You're sitting there and you're telling them, do this, do this, do this, do this, right? And then you don't do it yourself because you're so busy doing stuff that you forget the whole fucking point of all of it, and who you are. It's so easy to get lost and be like, wait, what am I even doing? And it's a continual growth thing, right? Because like, I remember when I first started my business, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And I don't know why my voice keeps doing that. It's like a vibe today. I don't know. Sometimes I use like the English accent. Sometimes it's like, the country hit accent. I just like to, express myself. So fuck it. But when I first started, my whole program was like a mess, and I was like, I don't get it. Why aren't people signing up? Why aren't people doing this? I guess I'm just a loser, And it wasn't that I'm a loser. It was that I was doubting my own capabilities, because that's exactly what we do. Is the more we learn, the more we're like, what are we doing? And that is so deep, because how many times do you sit there and you're like, once I do this, I'm going to be great. Once I become a nurse, once I finish this, once I do this, I'm going to be great. Right. And then you get there and what happens?
We're like, fuck that.
Right.
I need to do this to be I did it. I need to be greater.
And part of it is that we can't just sit in that. Like, I was talking to my coach yesterday and I was like, I don't know what the fuck it is. Like, me, I'm just like real. Like, I don't give two fucks, like I accept what did I say on my podcast? I'm fucked up and that's not fucked up. I can't help the fact that I'm not going to be perfect, that I have my flaws, but that's what makes my program and my business so wonderful, is that I'm real with you. I'm not perfect. I don't think I'm perfect. But if you can't hold every side of who you are and continually unfold those sides, and that was my biggest thing, is that I was trying to give people what I thought they would need instead of giving them what I knew I needed when I first started my journey. And when I did that, it was like a game changer, because I felt it was the ease of it all was just like, oh, I do know stuff, and you're never going to learn more about yourself until you learn about yourself. You're never going to dive deeper, right? And I remember like, oh, I can't post this on Facebook, or I can't do this on Facebook, because then I won't know what to say to my clients, because I'll give them all the information. No, you have to go superficial in order to get deeper. And you think that your mind is already thinking deep, but no, you've only scratched the surface. Once you start, I'm going to start here. unfolds, right? It's like that fucking onion that you're like, I'm going to peel this layer. And then there's another layer. And then there's another layer. And you're like, when is it going to get there? Right? Or those fucking dolls. Remember those dolls? The doll within the doll within the doll within the doll within the doll.
I used to have that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
Right.
Never ended.
And every time you thought it was going to end, or like the movie Inception. Think about like Inception. The whole time you're like confused because you're like, wait, now it's going even deeper. The dream within the dream within the dream. But once you get to that, it's like mind blown. You're like, oh my God, even watching it, you're like, as you're putting the pieces together, and you're going to have to watch it again because you're going to have to put the pieces together more fluidly. So you're like, oh, that's how your life is. You can't just do a program one time or do this one time and you're like, I'm good. I know everything now. Do. I am all knowing. No, bitch. You're going to know stuff. And then you're going to sit there and be like, wait, I don't even know half the shit that I just learned. Right?
I'm right there with you because that's how I even feel in my own personal, you know what I mean? In my own personal journey, know, and like, I don't know if you feel this way, but in your own personal journey, where do you find that you are fighting to be free?
Like where you have to explain that a little more. Like where
let me dig it.
I'm gonna blonde it out right now and be like, what? Can you put that in a different sentence?
And this is what I mean by that is that, like for myself, you and I, we both own, holistic wellness practices.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we want to call it. We both do meditation. We both do coaching. We both do yoga. What the fuck, dude? What? You know what? I feel like we're kind of twins and stuff. But anyway, it's,
Ebony and Ivory.
I know. Ebony and Ivory come together in perfect harmony. Oh, goodness. That made me think of Undercover Brother. But, so the best way to put it. So like yesterday, when was it? We talked on the phone. Anyways, I had that realization where I told you, I said, pineapple. Realization moment. I'm reflecting and I'm thinking about all of these things. But, one thing is that we both we have this thing of, hey, if you're in a mental struggle about your business, whatever you're mentally in there, hey, send me a pineapple.
Yeah.
And you were like, first you calm me down with the sexy self-talk. And you know what I mean? But do you find that struggle when it comes to fighting to be free? Because the way that I look at it is that we're all here trying to achieve our own human revolution. Our human revolution looks different to everyone. And so that's my purpose,
So the struggle is continuous.
Yes, which it is. But do you find, how do you deal with that breaking free?
Falling and getting up like a fucking baby learning how to walk, right? That baby doesn't start the baby doesn't start walking and they're like, I'm going to go run like fucking Forrest Gump, right? They start crawling, really like getting into the crawling thing, and then they'll start walking and they're going to fall 1,000,001 times, right? And then they're running. And then they get better at it, and then they get better at it, right? And then they get to the point where they can do like whatever. They can be outside playing with their friends. They can do all these things, right? But if that kid is not practicing that running, practicing walking, say they're like a lazy bum and they're just in front of their computer. When they go outside and they start running, what are they going to do? They're going to breathe heavy. They're going to have problems with it. They're going to be complaining the whole time. They're going to be blaming the sun, blaming the fact they need water, blaming their emotions. all because they haven't been practicing. And it's easier to blame anything and everything else than to blame themselves for sitting in front of that video game for 6 hours instead of going outside, right? Same thing for us. We are sitting there relearning ourselves from the ground up, and we are learning and learning and we're getting better. But the moment that you get there and you say, I'm good now, I can just stop growing, that's the moment that it gets harder again. And then once it hits you again and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and do an hour meditation, or I'm just going to go ahead and do all this shadow work because I've done it before, right? So I can just dive into it. No, bitch. No, you got to start back into it, and not necessarily start all the way back at the very beginning. But yes, you have to go back to the fundamentals over and over and over again, right? Because you're always fighting to grow, to understand, to learn, to be able to comprehend what's going on in your life. And you're going to have stuff coming at you left and right. So for me, I get it constantly, where I get that feeling of like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if, I'm doing this right. And I have to catch myself throughout the fucking day. Like even my relationship, right? He's more soft than anyone I've ever been with. But that doesn't mean he's weak. But to me, I had learned that made him weak. And so I had to realize that I don't have to be in that dominant masculine side when he's in that more softer side, right? Because that's what we think. We're like, oh, if he's in that, because that's what we learned. The weaker they are, the harder we have to be. But that's not the case. Just because they're soft does not make them weak. And that's our misconception, right? So that's where I say it's a continuous battle, because I found myself yesterday sitting there and saying something to him and getting like irritated. And I was like, am I actually irritated with him? Or is this my ego coming out and saying, hey, bitch, like, he don't know you. Okay. He don't know who you are. He don't even know my doggy style. Like you sit there and you're just like trying to find, you're like, bitch, please. I am the boss, and you have to be like, okay, also calm the fuck down, Angela. Because if you want the things that you want in life, it's not easy. Mine is running, right? There's people there, they run. There's people there that cling. They cling to the relationship when it's unhealthy, right? Or you say it's unhealthy, but really it's because you're fucking clinging and you're not giving space, and you're not like people. Oh, well, that person's fucked up. Well, it's not that people are fucked up. It's that they don't stick around to figure themselves out, because it's easier to point the finger at everyone else, right? If we can point the finger at everyone else, we do not have to look at our own insufficiencies.
And that I highly agree with you. I highly agree with you. When I was listening to you about your boyfriend maybe being a little bit kinder, a little bit softer than you're used to. I will tell you, when Waldo and I first dated, like I was like, wow, this is the most masculine dude that I've ever dated. Because normally, I'll be honest, like every guy that I've ever dated, I fucking dog walked the shit out of him and ran him over because of the over masculine side. You know what I mean? And I just really like, wow. So like, you know what? You and I have been chatting it up and chatting it out. And I think the folks need to hear about your program. By the way, you guys, this program is helping women change their lives. And just out here kicking ass and taking names. So let them know about your program.
So my program is my business first and foremost. It's called Unabashedly You, and it is for moms to prioritize themselves. Now, I've had men come up to me. I've had single women that don't have kids come up to me. I've had married women, it's not that I don't accept those people. It's that I'm starting my business from scratch. So you got to niche it out, right? So I accept all the people. I'm not going to turn you away and be like, no, you're 46 years old and my program goes to 45. Like, you sound like a fucking idiot if you do that. Like you have no way of knowing. Some people are more mentally like the reason I do 45 as the cutoff is because as they get older, it's harder to want to change. You may have the desire to change and may know you need to, but actually doing the change becomes more difficult. And I only know that from a lot of research that I've done, but that's a case by case again. So my program is for 20 to 45-year-olds that are moms that are trying to reclaim basically who they are or find who they are for the first time. And if you're feeling like anxious, if you're feeling tired, irritable, undervalued, you can't validate yourself. You're constantly seeking validation from everybody else in order to validate yourself because you can't do it for yourself, right? And you don't feel sexy in your own skin. You feel very uncomfortable. Like one of the first things my boyfriend said to me was like, I love that you are just so open to just like walking around naked. Like you think it's just second nature because your body is beautiful and it's the only body you get, the more you shame it and the more you like put it down, the worse it's going to get. Right. So my program is it starts off with a 6-week challenge to prioritize you, not your kids, not your significant other, not family members, just you. So I have like weekly coaching calls. I go over inner child work, shadow work. I go over what the fuck is it that is keeping you from being unabashedly you. And what I did was I took a shit ton of programs that I've done research on, been in certifications that I have, like I have trauma-informed coaching, I have advanced trauma-informed coaching, yoga, meditation, mindfulness, breath work. I have all of this stuff. I have relationship do's and don'ts, relationship with yourself, relationship with your inner child, your shadows, relationship with your significant other, relationship with your parents, relationship with your kids. These are all relationship do's and don'ts that I do throughout the weeks of the 6-week challenge. I do a Confident in 7 method that is basically just 7 steps to do throughout the day, whenever you have time, wherever you have time, in whatever order you want. But it's basically learning and training your brain to build a new staircase from your lower level to your upper level so that your brain can associate and actually think in a more meaningful and productive way. Because our problem is that our chaos in our brain doesn't allow us to think clearly and organize our thoughts and actually focus on thinking before reacting, the impulsivity of it all, right? So that's what I kind of teach you in that program. You also have a community where you can have the communication with other like-minded women, kind of like a Facebook group, but better because it's very niche down to only the people that are doing the program. But it's a continuous thing because after the 6 weeks is my monthly Confident Queen membership, because you can't just sit there and do a 6-week program and be like, I'm fucking good now. Like, that's not a thing. You can't, right? Deuces, I'm perfect. No, it's a continuous thing. And that is what I had to learn, is that you can't just do programs, right? What do you do with a workout program? You do it and then you're like, now what? Right? Or you go to therapy, you're done with therapy and you're like freaking out because the therapist wants to leave you and you're like, don't leave me. So that is what this program is like building you step by step, more and more and more and more and more, to where you learn how to validate yourself. But remember, it's like the kid running, right? You have to continuously be learning, growing. I have a tracker on there. You can actually track your mindfulness, track like, are you actually being mindful? Are you actually doing these practices that are on here for me? And so I have all of these things built in to my app that I built that's called Unabashedly You. You can find it on Apple. I'm still fucking waiting on Google. Google's a pain in the ass, but once it gets in there, you know, it's like a fine wine. Once it gets in there, you're going to be like, oh, neat. What is it called? I don't know. Magnifique. There you go.
I'm like, ooh, did you just quote me? Did you just quote me? I think you just quoted me. It is my quote. Meditation is like a fine wine. It gets better over time.
You're adorable. You're
Dude,
adorable.
like seriously, it's like my quote. Like nobody else has ever used it. Nobody. So it's mine.
You're like pending on that because I totally didn't know you used it, first of all.
You know what? It's my ass.
I don't need any like lawsuits, bro. I don't need that shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Don't worry. I'm not coming for you.
Right. That's too much work. Fuck that shit. I'm just
running stack of.
So what was that?
That was my alarm. It says, good morning, you stunning sack of sunshine. And it tells you to like kick ass and make today your biatch.
Does it really do that? That's adorable.
No, like seriously, it does.
But like for real.
Did I just say that's adorable?
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable.
My boyfriend's rubbing off on me. He says adorable and cute. He's working on not saying it.
Oh my goodness.
I want to be adorable all the time.
Yeah, because like shit, I'll be hanging up on you like every 10 minutes. You're like, did I just lose you? No, I hung up. Only adorable for the millionth time. And
right. You put it together. When does the signal get lost, right? Yeah. It tends to get lost around that time.
it's all
Like put the pieces together, right? Yeah.
it's all did you say adorable again? That's it. That's it.
Right. Right.
I'll send you a pineapple in a week.
Or tomorrow. It's fine. Put it right. It's fine.
I am so excited that you came on here today. I'm like, I've been waiting for this.
Also, I wanted to say that I do have, guys, if you're like, I don't know if I like this bitch. I don't know if I resonate with her. I don't know if she knows anything, right? It's totally fine. I don't give a fuck. But if you want to know me and kind of how I am, how I do things, go on my podcast. My podcast is it's called Who the Fuck is in the Mirror? And it's literally like just being real, being raw, saying it like it is, learning about who is that person on the other side of that mirror, right? Thank you, Milan. But it's just about learning that person again and learning how to rebuild yourself, right? So obviously it's not my program, but it does give you more of an idea of just the way I talk, the way I act, all the things, you know, like that lady that I told you about last Saturday that was like, what if I told you that it's offensive that you have the word fuck in your podcast? No, fucking listen to it. I don't know. And what if I told you, ma'am, that you judging me for having a cuss word in my podcast and making me feel like I'm not worthy of helping people because I have a cuss word in there? What if I told you that made me feel uncomfortable towards learning things from you? And then all she had to come back with was, I'm a therapist. Maybe not the right time to out yourself that you're a therapist.
Don't out yourself. So if you are a therapist and you feel that it is okay to place judgment on other people, like, dude, I'm going to say it. I don't even give a shit. I'm a trauma-informed life coach, and shame on you for making someone feel bad for being who they are. You're licensed. You get paid the big bucks to do that. Don't do that to people. Don't do it.
Right?
Just don't do it. And if
What
you get
shadow
a chance,
is she portraying because she's not able to accept herself for who she is?
which is true, it
There's
starts
no
with you.
program, ma'am.
It's not. It's all. Here you go. Let me give you the concept.
Like the business card too.
Yeah, right. Dude, it starts with you. That's, you know, and you and I, and this is where I feel that you and I'm trying to end us out on this, but I have to say this. You and I, when we met and we chatted it out, we were on the phone for like 2 hours on video chat after my meditation. And I feel that what connected us was the fact that we were both like, dude, be the fuck who you are. Be who you fucking are. You know, if you are someone that you're like, well, this is a pretty good interaction and stuff like that, I'm telling you, go to Angie's podcast and listen to Bitchin' Intermission. And you're going to be like, wait a minute. This people sound exact. Yeah, it's me and Ange. It's me and Ange. That's what it is. And you'll probably catch us in each other's podcasts more often.
Yeah.
Just having simple chats.
Just little tidbits here and there and everywhere.
Here's a beer.
Right. I think next week is my intermission, just FYI. So
Ooh,
and I'm
call
talking
me
about
randomly.
you picking up what I'm putting down.
Oh, dude, I'm picking it up. Ooh, this is spicy.
I'm dropping hot girlfriend, you know, talking about
It's hot. It's hot. Yeah, and I'll be ready in my jumpsuit like you're in yours today. I'll be wearing a jumpsuit with shorts and pockets and shit.
but yeah, because we're eating like that.
Right. Oh my goodness. And I fucking love you on purpose, dude. And I am so grateful to have you on here. And I'll be seeing you on yours next week. And beautiful people, I hope that you enjoyed. Please go check Ange out. I will make sure in the comments to have some information for you to be able to get a hold of Ange. And you might even be like, hey, Ange, Tammie sent me, because, you know, her name is actually Angela. So let me be clear. It's Angela. So you guys have a beautiful evening. Thank you again for listening and happy healing.
Whoop, whoop.